I'm sending you a big virtual hug right now because breakups are hard, but having an anxious attachment makes it uniquely harder. Because on top of all the intense emotions that you might be experiencing, it's also easy to find ourselves being invalidated even by the people closest to us, even by our family and friends who love us, just because it's kind of hard for people with secure attachment or avoidant attachment. It's kind of hard for them to grasp and get why we intensely feel and react this way about a breakup. We'll shop, new clothes, shoes.
Sometimes when I'm feeling all stressed out about something, I go out and buy a cute top or a fun skirt, and I have a whole new outlook on life.
Don't you eventually realize you're just the same stressed out person in a cute top or a fun skirt?
Yeah, that's when I buy shoes.
Hi, I'm Kish. Welcome to this channel, which is inspired by this Emily Dickinson poem. And today we're going to talk about breakups, especially as an anxiously attached girly, because I've been there 3 times and I've learned a lot, and I want to share everything that has helped me and every mistake that I made so that you won't have to repeat it. And also, I just want to give you a heads up that this will be a lot. This will be a very long video, but I will add chapters so that maybe you could watch it one chapter a day if it's too much for you to watch it in one sitting, but whatever floats your boat. Because when I was going through my romantic rock bottom, what kept me going was content like this. People who are sharing their stories, people who are sharing their tips, especially people who also have anxious attachment. So I want to give back because those videos and podcast episodes and articles have been kind of like my lifeline. That's so exaggerated to say, but it's true. And if you click this video and if you're anxiously attached, I'm sure you already read a lot on the topic. But if you want a quick refresher, you could go search and read on the work of John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth. But I'm going to pop an image here of a quick refresher of the different attachment styles, and just to focus on the anxiously attached quadrant. So we have the fear of abandonment, the need for constant validation, and being dependent on a partner for self-worth. So I could relate to all of those. I don't know how exactly it is for you, but for me, going through a breakup as an anxiously attached girly, my experiences involved nocturnal panic attacks, like waking up in the middle of my sleep, in the middle of the night, with short breaths and uncontrollable crying, and like this heaviness on your chest and sense of doom, as if the world is ending and you can't control the emotions and the heaviness, even though it doesn't make sense. And also in that first 5 seconds when you wake up and everything feels all right, like all is well with the world, and then after those first 5 seconds, your heart sinks in because you remember that, oh, you're not together with this person anymore, or oh, you've broken up, you no longer have someone to call, or especially if you had this routine with your partner where maybe you used to wake up beside them, or you used to wake up to a phone call or a text message, and suddenly there's nothing, there's silence. And that used to be the hardest part for me. That's why when I'm going through a breakup, it's hard for me to get some good sleep, because and also I avoid going to sleep just because I hate that first 5 seconds of realizing that it's over and that you can no longer do anything about it. What else? So I also can't focus at work. I can't function, which is why I say that it might not be something that other people will get if you're having a hard time right now functioning, because I know a lot of people who have gone through breakups and they can still go to work, they can still function, they can still do their usual routines. But for me, it's like I enter this freeze mode of some sort. And if you can function well, if that's not how a breakup affects you, good for you. But if you're like me who can't function, I hope that you don't beat yourself up and that you don't be too hard on yourself, because it really happens and we all have different pain tolerances physically. And now I know that we have different pain tolerance when it comes to our emotional pain as well. So someone may be able to like go about their day as if nothing happened. But if for you it means like not having the energy and the desire to get out of bed at all, it is normal, it is understandable, and that doesn't make you weak. That just makes you unique in how you're handling this situation. I also hated silence. I can't bear the silence after the first few weeks or even months after the breakup. I'm always listening to a podcast, listening to a breakup playlist, and consuming content. So, how to get your ex back? I'm not gonna judge you if you have asked ChatGPT how you can get your ex back, and I'm not gonna judge you if your Google search history has a lot of those search keywords like how to get my ex back, is my avoidant ex coming back, signs that my ex will still come back, or signs that my ex still loves me. I've been there and I'm not gonna judge you. I can't judge you because two breakups out of three breakups, I have begged for my ex back. I have wanted them back, and what used to like sustain me in the first couple of months after a breakup is that hope that they will come back, that they will realize that it was a mistake calling it quits. And also, I one of my coping mechanisms back then is to read those how to get your ex back blogs, and there are a lot. So knowing that you might also have been considering wanting to get your ex back or looking for ways to get your ex back, I'm not going to give you an advice what or what not to do, because for me, making those mistakes have also helped me grow as a person. But to be honest, if I could go back in time, I would not go to the lengths that I've gone just to get an ex back, because I'm gonna get to the reasons later. But yeah, if I could go back in time, I would just accept the breakup, grieve properly instead of living in denial, and instead of bargaining for another chance. And I want to read this quote that opened my eyes. Like, I never saw breakups the same way after reading this quote. So I'm going to share it with you, and I'm also going to put the image here so you could follow along as I read. So this is from the book Getting Past Your Breakup by Susan J. Elliott. During the post-breakup period, you have three options. The first is to spend all kinds of time, futile effort, and tears trying to win back your ex. The second is to try to go on as if nothing has happened and continue down the same path that led you into yet another unsuccessful relationship. The third option is to heal properly, look at what's happened, and learn new ways to put together a healthy and whole life. Not only will this make you happier, it will also give you the best chance to find true love with a person who is good for you and to you. Although the last option is infinitely more attractive and assures sustained long-term happiness, most people choose the first. And when that doesn't work, the second. Why? Because they have no idea how to do the third, to take charge of their lives. And I love that quote, but to be honest, the first time that I read it, I was like, no, I'm gonna win my ex back. I was the living proof of what she said, that what most people do is try to win their ex back, and when that doesn't work, we ignore, try to just suppress our feelings, and when that also does not work, that's just when we try to like finally take charge of our lives, take responsibility, face our feelings and our emotions, go to therapy and find healthier hobbies and take care of ourselves. I still think that if you want your ex back right now, you're still gonna try to make that happen. And I'm seated. I'll be waiting here for you if you wanna turn off the video. If it works, great. I'm happy for you. I hope that you will have a healthy relationship, that you will solve all your issues and all your problems, and it will be a healthier partnership. But if it fails, if you have tried to get them back and it didn't work, it's okay as well. It's part of life. And I guess the upside of giving your best to try an ex back when you still love them and when you know that you screwed up or made a mistake is that you won't ever have to wonder what if someday, because you know that you tried to pursue them, you tried to make it up to them, you tried to talk to them. Basically, you gave your best, and sometimes knowing that you gave your best is what gives you peace to move forward. Sometimes that is the best closure that you can give yourself, knowing that you gave it your all, and if it didn't work, good effort. If I could go back in time, here's what I would tell myself. Here's how I would deal with my past breakups. Number one is, instead of trying to spend my time and energy trying to figure out and obsessing how to get my exes back, I would spend my time and focus on figuring out how to get myself back. Because in my first two breakups, I have gone to this how to get your ex back rabbit hole, and for a while that was how I was able to cope, because I had that sense of false hope that I would be able to change their minds, that I would be able to win their love back, and I would do all these things to catch their attention. If you know the song Mirror Ball by Taylor Swift, that was me. After my first two breakups, I would try and try and try so hard to get them looking at me, to get them interested again, but nothing will ever work. Nothing has ever worked. I mean, it could for a while, that you could engage them for a little while, but once a relationship is over and there's no more love left in the relationship, it's hard to resuscitate it back. And yeah, I would spend my time taking care of myself instead of trying to change myself into someone that they would want. I would instead focus on becoming someone that I'd be proud of. Second is, it's not always about you. I would tell myself that just because a relationship ended doesn't mean that I'm unlovable, that I'm unworthy. Good things come to an end. I had this habit of taking things personally, making it all about me and my self worth. But now I realize that sometimes in a relationship, you would find yourselves realizing that you don't have the same lifestyle, or you don't have the same values, or you no longer have the same shared goal that you thought you had, and you have to let each other go to grow. And as long as you gave your heart, you gave your love, and you did not hurt a person intentionally, we should be able to like let it go. There's this song, I forgot the title, but there's a line in it that says, "Loving is not owning." And I remind myself of that every time that I can't let go of a person, because we can love someone from afar. We can pray for them, hope for the best for them. And sometimes that's the kind of love that we can give. And also, by not taking it personally, you will be able to bounce back even faster because you're not making the breakup mean something about you or your lovability or your worthiness. And it's not to say that you won't take accountability or grow or learn from your mistakes, but it's just that acknowledging and honoring someone else's autonomy and decision and their boundaries. And it was really hard for me at first to respect someone's boundary, especially an ex-partner's boundaries, because it was hard for me to detach, and it took a lot of effort, a lot of years, a lot of learning. And I'm happy and I'm grateful to God for being with me through it all. Next is nurture non-romantic relationships, because not one person could meet all of our wants and needs and desires. That would be hard for someone to do. And I mean, yes, of course, if you have a partner, they should be your best friend. And I guess just for me, I've always put this insurmountable, I hope I'm saying the correct word, pressure on my partner to fill all the gaps of my life, especially the childhood wounds that I have, the career insecurity that I had. Like every time something goes wrong in my life, I usually depend and lean on them heavily instead of having that agency and taking charge of my life. But yeah, now I realize that you can't expect one person to give you all that you need. Unless, of course, that person is Jesus. Yes, he can give you all that you need. But us humans, we don't have the capacity to do that. Because if someone asks that of you to be their everything, it's going to be hard. It's going to be impossible. And nurturing our non-romantic relationships ensures that we have a balanced life, ensures that we are part of this community, that we are being a villager, and that we have healthy interdependence with the people around us. And number 4 is create your dream life, because I'm not proud of this, but I have spent 4 years of my life trying to win. Wait, 4? Yeah, 4 years of my life trying to win excess packs. So 2 years for my first one, and then 2 years for my second ex. And I had spent those months in relationship limbo, wondering whether they would get back together with me, whether they'd realize that they still want me. And instead of doing that, I would tell my younger self, and I would encourage them to focus instead on pouring their energy back into their life, exploring new places, trying out new hobbies, meeting new people, and making goals and working towards those goals, going back to God, spending time in the Word, instead of like putting all of our eggs in one basket, if that makes sense. And sometimes I grieve those years that I spent chasing them or hoping that they would come back, because I wish I have used those years to create the life that I want. From the same book, I love this excerpt. She wrote, "While the aftermath of a breakup can be a devastating time, it can also be a tremendous opportunity for life-changing growth. As unbelievable as it may seem when you are in the throes of heartache, this can be a rich and fertile time when you are most open and ready to make your dreams come true. A breakup can actually be a liberating time when you take charge of your life and make positive change happen instead of waiting around for it to happen to you." Lastly, I would tell my younger self that you can respond differently and better next time. So, in my first relationship, it took me 3 years to move on. In my second relationship, it took me 2 years to finally let go of all hope that we would be able to work it out. 2 years to let go of the on and off thing that we had. And in my third relationship, the last one that I had, it took me less than 2 months to be over it, to move on with my life, to move forward. And that is progress for me. And it was the evidence that I needed to see, to realize that we can learn to respond differently and better as long as we learn from each experience that we go through instead of just forgetting what we learned. And to me, that is progress because I have unlearned some of the patterns that I thought I would never outgrow, and I have learned to take better care of myself. I have learned to let go when it's time to let go instead of forcing things to happen, instead of forcing someone to love me. And now I have the self-respect to accept when someone no longer wants you in their life. Cool, okay. I don't have to force myself into someone else's life, and instead I could focus on creating the life that I want, and maybe someone else will come along. And if not, I'm still cool with that because I no longer want to change myself, to morph myself into someone that I'm not, just to convince someone to stay. Because if someone loves you, you won't have to convince them. It will just fall into place. And that's not to say that it's gonna be easy, but I guess you won't have to go through fire. You won't have to twist yourself and change yourself so much. And it's tempting to think that it's better off to shut our hearts and ourselves off from the world and to just never try again, never date again, never get our hearts involved again, never fall in love again, so we could not get hurt again. But where's the fun in that? I love this quote from C.S. Lewis, and I'm gonna play this excerpt that I once posted as a podcast episode as well. And I think it's the perfect way to end this video. To love at all is to be vulnerable. Love anything, and your heart will be wrung and possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give it to no one, not even an animal. Wrap it carefully round with hobbies and little luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in the casket or coffin of your selfishness. But in that casket, safe, dark, motionless, airless, it will change. It will not be broken. It will become unbreakable, impenetrable, irredeemable. To love is to be vulnerable. Thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, if you have any comments or recommendations, even for our fellow anxious attached girlies, leave them in the comments. And I appreciate you. And I hope and I know that you will get through this. And yeah, that's it. Thanks so much for listening. Bye. There are 5 stages of grief, right? And I feel like when you go through a breakup, you also grieve. And usually the first stages that I go through are denial and then bargaining. So I I scour and pour through every article on how to get your ex back. I watch like vlogs and tutorials on how to get my exes back. And it's silly and it's pathetic, but back then, during those times, that was the only thing that kept me going in the first few months. It's that hope that I will be able to win them back, that they would come back, that I would find them on my doorstep with a boombox, and that they would want to give it another go. And later, I'm gonna share some of the embarrassing stuff that I did because I thought I found the love of my life and that I have to win them back. Okay, what else? So I also have this phases of being suddenly all social. Like I would invite every friend that I could think of, and I would dress up and I would like get my hair colored or get a wellness spa treatment of some sort. I will shop new clothes, shoes.
Sometimes when I'm feeling all stressed out about something, I go out and buy a cute top or a fun skirt, and I have a whole new outlook on life.
Don't you eventually realize you're just the same stressed out person in a cute top or a fun skirt?
Yeah, that's when I buy shoes.
And I will post pictures of myself, basically thirst traps, because I want to get the attention of my ex, or I want them to regret leaving me, or I want them to remember why they fell in love with me in the first place. So I would go out a lot. I would like put on this show on my social media as if I was doing okay, as if I was thriving without my ex. And it's all to prove to them that I can live without them. And I thought that by proving to them that I could live without them, they would want to come back, because I usually like diagnose them to be avoidant, even though I realize now that I've grown up. Just because someone else breaks up with you doesn't mean they're avoidant or scared of commitment. Sometimes it's just not a match. But back then, I used to think that, oh, they're just scared of commitment. They're just scared of how intense they feel for me. They're just scared of getting hurt by me because they love me so much. What a clown. But yeah. And what else? The toxic way that I deal in the initial phases of a breakup is like I need an ego boost. I need to get external validation, especially from men. Like I need proof that I'm still desirable, so I entertain like people who want to talk to me, who want to chat with me. But that's the extent of it. I never go out with someone new, fresh off a breakup, because I know that I will just cry in front of them, or like dump all my emotions about my ex. But anyway, yeah, I seek that external validation from men, because I feel like that will soothe me, and that will remind me that just because my ex didn't want me anymore doesn't mean that I'm totally undesirable and undateable, if that makes sense. Going to therapy or seeing your therapist will be really helpful as well, especially if you're having some like thoughts about self-harm. It would be really really good for you to see your therapist. And sometimes, even if you know what you need to do or what you want to hear, sometimes it helps hearing it from a professional. Like, remember that we are the type of people who want that external validation, and sometimes it bleeds through the way that we operate in the world. So sometimes, even if you know what you need to do to be able to move forward, it helps hearing someone else say it, because it validates it. I'm not making sense anymore. It's oops, 12:12 a.m. and I'm still yapping here. Yeah, so I highly recommend seeing a therapist if you're having a hard time functioning, or like you're really in a dark place. And for me, it has been helpful being surrounded by friends and family who have known me my entire life at different points of my life, because it made me realize how big my life is and how bigger it could get. Like, there is more to what I was going through at that point, and it made me excited about the possibilities again. I guess it also helps to connect with the people who have known you before your ex even knew you, because it will bring back the old parts of yourself that you might have forgotten, and it would be refreshing, and you would like remember the time in your life when your ex was not a part of it, and where you were also happy and you also had fun and you were also filled with joy and hope for the future. And also for me, prayer and journaling and talking to God and asking for his guidance, reading the word obviously have really helped. And I guess I procrastinated on seeking God about my past relationships because I felt guilty and ashamed, because I know deep down that those relationships were not really aligned with his will, but I forced things to happen, and I felt, I guess, pride. Like I didn't want to go to him because I failed. Because, you know, when you did something wrong and it's hard to own up to it because you feel ashamed, I guess that was the roadblock for me. And if I could go back in time, I would also tell myself to not take things personally, because relationships end, good things end. And sometimes it does not have to mean that you are the victim or the villain. Sometimes two people just like fall in love and then realize in the end that they're not a match. It's ideal to like fall in love and stay together. It's ideal and it's a dream to like meet the person that you're gonna be with for the rest of your life, and to not have to like go to this trial and error, but it's not realistic. And I would tell myself that I I would make it less about me, instead of like wondering and always asking what I did wrong, why was I not enough. Instead of blaming it all on me, I would just chalk it up to experience and, yeah, try to be better for the next relationship instead of trying to salvage that same relationship.